boys are settled with themselves. You know, we've hit a run of form and momentum, and obviously it helps when we've had some time off and a nice week's training in Portugal. That was a fillip for the squad. So we're in a pretty good space. Yeah, we're not over anxious about it. It's another game, and we've billed it as that, and looking forward to it. Yeah.
Obviously, a win would guarantee top spot, but psychologically, what would a win do going into those playoffs against a team you could potentially face in the playoffs?
I suppose it could mean a lot on the outside, but we're treating it as just another game. It's a bit of a cliche, but we are. We're not going to get promotion on Friday night, so we got our feet firmly on the ground. We'll treat any other game that we have, possibly against London Welsh, when that comes to it. We've got a game to deal with on Friday first, and that's genuinely how we're approaching it, because there's still areas of our game to work on. We're hitting good patches of play in games, but we're still not the complete performance yet, so it literally is another game.
Yeah. In terms of the progress you've made since facing them earlier in the season, a hypothetical question, but the Bristol that played at Oxford, playing the team, who would come out on top? How much of a difference would there be? How much improvements have you made?
If we played like that on Friday, we'd get well beaten, because London Welsh have improved since then. So I watched it this week. Actually, I watched it back, and we were dreadful. London Welsh were good. They did a real good job on us that day. Defensively, kicked well. Wanted the game much more than we did, looking back, reflecting, and we played dreadful as well, gifted them a try or two. So I'd like to think we're in a slightly different place now, mentally and physically. The team is different. We've had a bit more consistency in selection. We've come through a few difficult games, and we've built on our game. So it's a good time to have this fixture. I think it's the best team we are going to play so far. It'll be the best defence that we've faced, even though we're scoring lots of tries, and it'll be a real test for us. So I think it's a good time actually for both teams to play each other at this time of the season, because there's a few weeks off the playoffs, and we've both made the playoffs.
How good are they? They've won their last 8 league games.
As I said, I think they're probably the most complete team in the league, including us. I'd say. I think they don't leak many tries, whereas we seem to concede tries, at the end of halves. Still an issue for us. They have a balanced kicking game, and they've got a pretty good squad. They've a lot of size and experience. They've got a good balance. So, I think they are the most complete team in the division. Whether they can sustain that right to the end, well, we'll see. That's down to 4 teams, and the best team will go up. But right at the moment, I think they're excellent.
Is there any? I know you are taking each game as it comes, but is there any talk at all, look, lads, we could face these again in the playoffs to get a boost beating them now and get one over them? No,
there's no talk about that, because we're all pretty intelligent to know the fact that we could well do that. But the likelihood is we'd probably have to face Leeds or Rotherham first if we get something out of the next 2 games. So there's no point talking about that, because we'd be doing a justice to ourselves and to Leeds or Rotherham. We've had tough games with those 2 already this season, and so there's no givens here. And if we start looking at the end game before we deal with this, then we'll come unstuck. So we're keeping our feet firmly on the ground. It's just another game. All the cliches and the pressures and the changes in behaviour can happen outside our environment. For us, we're just seeing true north.
Team news. Any fresh knocks to report? Anybody available?
Yeah, tough shift in Moseley. They threw a lot at us in the second half. We lost rookie, reasonably early with sort of a heel issue. It's not as bad as we were worried about, but he won't make this weekend. Ross Rennie took a knock on his shoulder. We don't know whether we'll risk him yet. He wants to play, but we've got Marco Mama coming back, so that's not an issue there. James Hall to come back after a bit of a layoff, which is good news. And Stuart McAnally likely to figure somewhere, if not this week, certainly next week. So yeah, it's pretty good news, really. We're in good shape, and I think the management of the squad in the first half of the season is paying off now, and let's hope we can continue that.
You've got so many options. Do you know your strongest 15, or do you have to sometimes assess the opposition before naming your team?
A bit of both. I think we know the core of our best team. I still think there's some areas up for grabs. I think it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that we haven't had a consistent 12 and 13 all season. Ben Moss has probably been the most consistent at 12. So, you know, Jack Tovey's come on really strong recently. Luke Eves and Brian Rennie have played parts where they've raised their hand, and we signed Adam Hughes for a reason. And defensively, he's been great, but he's also picked up the odd knock here and there, so hasn't had a consistent run. So that's one area. 9, we got options. Hooker, we've got options with Rambo coming in, McAnally there, and Ross Johnson due back very soon. So, and I think that's good. I think we know, you know, between 25 and 30 players that could figure, and to have that competition still at this stage of the season, fighting on 2 fronts, is I think is pretty good.
Yeah. Another week, you're continuing to be linked with players. I know you've always said to supporters, we'll let you know when anything's official.
Yeah, we're just signing Dan Carter, Will Again, yeah. And Richie McCaw's just coming over today to sign that.
There you go, you've taken my thunder.
No.
Chris Brooker, a lot of people reporting that's actually happened, a deal. What can you tell us about
No,
that?
I can't tell you anything, look, because our dealings are done. We've been linked with all sorts of players at the moment. As I said, we'll keep you informed of those. There may be some announcements at the end of the season, but for now we're done. Everybody's been informed, and you know, we just concentrate now on the rest of the season, and that's important that this group know that everybody else knows that. We'll be linked. Agents are working the oracle, and the media are working the oracle to upset, raise prices of people, you know, nudge owners here and there. You know, for our squad at the moment now, it's all done and dusted. We push on.
And when you see someone like Adam Jones linked, is that almost laughable?
Same, yeah. I was with his dad on Sunday. I mean, so that's probably why. But no, Adam and I go back a long way. I taught Adam in further education college, coached him for 10 years. You know, there was always going to be a link there, isn't there? You know, there'll probably be more in the future, which is flattering. But it's probably just born out of the fact he hasn't officially signed any contract yet. And say we're quite happy with the 3 tight ends we got at the moment.
Is this part, of course, I mean, without naming names now, when you're hopefully a Premiership club as well, we're going to have to get used to this kind of stuff.
When you sign the likes of, when you're able to attract the likes of Dwayne Peel, Ryan Jones, Anthony Perenisi, Jack Lamb, you know, these are big names in the world game. Then all of a sudden players and agents turn their head and they want to be part of it. And trust me, they will go any lengths to be linked to cajole people to be in the frame, even if it's to bump up their current contracts or to get interest from other teams. And you guys should be aware of that. You know, what's important from inside and for our squad and our supporters to know is we'd like to think we know what we're doing. You'll know when we know, and the rest of the thing we'll just get on with.
Final, very important question. When's the Dan Carter press conference?
Well, DC is on his way now. No, it's not.